Folks, thank you for being here. It's always great to be the panel or the discussion in the late afternoon. You can find people in all states of alertness. But hopefully, we can keep you excited, interesting, have an amazing panel here. And a lot of diverse, you'll see a lot of diversity in their opinions. Some opinions are quite strong. I could even call that mini fight here, right? It's all not planned. Fast, it's all not planned. Right? Trust me. So, quick background about myself. Balaji Prasad. Been in this country for more than I can care to confess. But my journey started out as I came to this country to study applied physics and do a PhD there. But after a couple of years, my advisor told me it's going to take you only 8 years to finish. I transitioned to cybersecurity. I took a master's in computer science and then entered the industry. Worked in all layers of the OSI stack. Right. I know most young people don't even know anything beyond below application layer, but there's a whole bunch of really nasty stuff below. So I did all that and did a couple of startups. Right now, I'm at Force Point, specializing in data security. My AI journey has been, I've been engaged with the AI startups, AI technology for the last, I would say 6, 7 years. Um, my previous company was a place called Blue Hexagon, where I worked with the team that essentially built the face recognition in your iPhones and Android. So the box that comes when it sees your face, that's a deep learning problem. So it learn, how to recognize faces, how to draw the boundaries. We use that to draw boundaries around network packets on the wire to find malware. Very cool stuff, right? So AI has enormous applications. And we thought that was cutting edge. Now LLM makes all of that look very pedestrian. So the threat matrix is changing greatly. And with me today, I want to introduce my panel one by one quickly in the interest of time because there's a lot of content that we have. But first, let me start with Ravi Chan. Ravi Chan is a seasoned cybersecurity practitioner with over 2 decades of experience in the information security domain. So as AI disrupts power and reshapes multiple tech sectors, Ravi actually has garnered a lot of experience and developed a very interesting viewpoints in how he wants to tackle or how he believes enterprises should tackle these challenges that he'll be talking about. To my right, immediate left is Raji Vaninathan. She's a seasoned cybersecurity leader with rich and varied background spanning pharma, manufacturing, biotech, and technology sectors. Currently at Microsoft, we are very happy she's on the good side. Incident response and using AI techniques, and she'll cover that. In the middle of the panel, we have Victor Starostenko. He's a seasoned cybersecurity professional and director of cybersecurity at Clarivate, when he leads a high-impact security team, built a hybrid SOC, embedded security into DevSecOps while keeping businesses agile and secure. His focus is on automation, threat detection, and risk reduction. And nowadays, he's developed a lot of new perspective on AI systems, AI frameworks, how this is going to impact the tech matrix and threat landscape going forward. And to my far left is Bhargav Vivekanandan. He's a CISO with extensive experience in IT security, currently at Tech Yantra, who specializes in the critical area of AI and ML security, focused on advanced, robust security architectures for advanced systems, including generative AI. So please give a warm applause, warm welcome to this panel. So first of all, the way we've set it up is we will first talk in general terms first. Then there are a few areas that I want to cover and get some unique perspectives from the various analysts, right? So the first question, this is for everybody, and we'll go in order, right? So what led you to AI and cybersecurity, and what are you excited about this field today?
Thank you everyone for having me and thank you for coming. I've been in cybersecurity a practitioner all my career. Right, I've done security strategy, I've done proactive. Recently, I'm doing reactive security, and it is an asymmetric game. It's an infinite game. There's never an end, right? And so with I am so excited that we are leveling the playing field. I'm also cautiously excited from security, uh, but we are leveling the playing field here, right? Like for an attacker, they have to be write once. As a defender, you have to write all the time, and you have to, that's cat and mouse game. So that is the part which I'm really excited about. Also, I think, right, like, I mean, the specific time we are in the world of AI and security, this is the time when whatever we do, whatever new technologies, platforms, products, new threat vectors, everything is going to define like an entire era. So we are like unlocking that today. So that's what really, really excites me.
Thanks, first of all, thanks for uh, this forum for giving me an opportunity. I think I have a mixed feelings about AI. One, I'm excited, but on the same note, I'm also concerned about its forward. So, uh, as a cybersecurity practitioner, I've seen that AI is changing all the way, starting from the secure coding to threat hunting, vulnerability management, and looking for malicious events. And This kind of firepower enables even a small team of security professionals to have a very decent security posture, which wasn't possible. So AI is providing a way to scale for security team. And in this sense, I'm excited, how it can create order efficiency. On the same note, the extensive use of data in AI creates data sprawl. I'm also worried about that. So I'm here not only excited, but also trying to stay grounded.
Thank you, everybody. Excited to be here. Thank you, Molly, and everyone. So my intersection with cybersecurity and AI came out of SOC and incident response. As a responder team, at around the same time, we started noticing three shifts, and attackers got better. They got smarter. They got faster. Our internal organization started using AI tools, AI-based tools, including security tools. And our users started using AI technologies using corporate devices and corporate data. So, as defenders of the environment, we had to adapt our processes, we had to adapt our everyday work and response and the controls to this new environment. So, today I'll cover more on the defensive side of AI technologies.
Thank you, Victor. Hello, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity again for this creative Baladi and uh, money. I'm a big AI and InfoSec enthusiast, and I've been invested in reading and learning about AI for a while, and it was actually for my own ideas and forming a company and to solve societal problems. And I happened to be in charge of developing the responsible AI practice when the boom happened for my prior and job, and that's how I got exposed to it. So I have a lot of experience studying and researching and working on responsible AI on the infosec side. So I'm an optimist. I believe that responsible AI can really make us smarter, safer, and efficient and productive. I have we had use cases that we can study, but the underlining the responsible AI part is important there, right? So that is my focus. And in my current role, I'm actually leading a company product development effort on security, which also involves AI and the latest frameworks in AI. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's build on that, right? You mentioned that in your current role, people are engaging you as a CISO to give the inputs as the product is being built. This, guys, is a new trend we are seeing. Instead of thinking of it as an afterthought, we are involving the security professionals as we're baking the cake. This is extremely important, and we'll get more perspective from Bhargav and the others. Let me get down to the topic of the panel, right away. So we are talking about securing cyber systems against AI attacks, right? Uh, or rather, securing AI systems against cyber attacks. Same thing, right? So let me ask this question. So, what emerging threats to AI systems concern you the most, and how are you preparing your organization to address them? Ravi, do you want to take a crack at this?
I think the biggest challenge with AI is it's incredibly powerful and at the same time it tries to be super helpful. So
if you build a AI system, if you want to make it smart, the model has to be smart. Then you have to ingest large volumes of data. So what happens is this kind of creates a reckless ingestion of data, data sprawl, model sprawl. And what this does is, how do you secure data and models in a system where there is so much of sprawl? I think that is a challenge to think about. And secondly, model is trying to be super helpful. AI prompts. So, recently, I was doing a little bit of playing around with Alexa, that everybody can relate. So I asked, what is the date of birth of Bill Gates? And it had some mechanism. It said Bill Gates was born in 1940. Then I asked a few celebrities, and it didn't give the exact date of birth. Then I asked, was Bill Gates born on a Thursday? Then it gave me the exact day. Bill Gates was born 1940, some blah, September, something like that, right? So though I didn't check the accuracy of the date, but you have a way to coax the model to spill the data out. So I think that's incredibly a weak position from security perspective. So how do you prevent that? So I think um, these are two challenges that I see. One is access to AI models through prompts and the data sprawl and the model sprawl. How do you secure? How do you take control and secure?
Yeah. The other emergent threat, with the advent of agentic AI, especially, right, is the weaponization of autonomous AI, right? If not implemented responsibly, uh, you know, uh, with autonomy comes the discriminative and decision making ability, right? And when employed in critical functions without human oversight and humans in the loop, right, approving and reviewing those decisions and tasks, because it actually replaces humans, right, in critical functions. So that is the area where responsible AI plays a big role, in ensuring those autonomous AI, such as agentic AI, right, is implemented responsibly.
Thank you very much. So let's go a little bit deeper, right? I mean, this topic, you guys opened some fascinating topics to go uncover. Now, one thing we keep reading, uh, and this is something that'll be best explained by experts like you, is there's this growing concern about model hijacking, right? When attackers could potentially take control of AI systems or make it do things that it was not designed to do, right? So, how do you envision, or what are some techniques to defend against such sophisticated attacks?
Absolutely. Thank you, Balaji. So maybe take a step back. What is model hijacking? Right. And like you mentioned, it's when attackers take, manipulate or modify or take full control of your AI system, right, to achieve their purpose. And that can be done through several ways. One more common is injecting parameters to introduce backdoors, um, poisoning training data, or taking control of the model to do things that are either illegal or nefarious. And really, the outcome of that is, you introduce biases. You can potentially lose sensitive information. um, the approach is to really treat your AI system as as critical infrastructure, and we know how to do that. We've done that for years. Our applications, infrastructure, and data. Um, Threat modeling. To me, threat modeling is the key, and you really have to approach it with some modifications using the old methodology of threat modeling. First, you need to understand your assets, right? You need to understand what your AI system is made up of. Um, in the AI world now, that introduces a little bit of variance. You have your parameters, you have your training data, API endpoints. Um, then you need to understand your attack vectors. Uh, Really, truly spend a lot of time there of what will your model be used for if it was used nefariously. Define a set of controls, and then actually apply response processes around it. Uh, and after you're done, you rinse and repeat, because models age out. You introduce new parameters, new logic, and with that, you also introduce new vulnerabilities or attack vectors. And building your threat modeling process into your AI system development pipeline is key.
I'm going to take a different approach to this, right? Like, I mean, with AI, right, you are actually the models and the applications have real world implications. This is the time, you have to make it safe. It can cause human lives, right? That's the level we are talking about. So we need to adapt an adversarial mindset. So, investing in red teaming and, building diverse teams of red teamers, right, who have diverse lived experiences so they can bring their approaches and have a very comprehensive red team, right? So it's not just about security vulnerabilities. It's about what about bias? What about other safety mechanism, responsible AI, as Bhargav was talking about, all of these things we need to bring together. Ultimately, the goal is of, building trustworthy AI, right? Like we want that trust. And that's what our panels are talking about here, right? And so that's kind of how I would be thinking about defense specifically for this one.
Thank you very much. Great answers. And folks, you notice the perspective is all different and unique. And so what we'll do near the end of this talk is we'll try to also gather takeaways or further reading because, as we were discussing this panel, topic a couple of weeks ago, we realized that it is so vast that to do justice, we really need to distill it down to topics that are actually meaningful for practitioners. Right. To that end, I'm going to ask your practitioner question to a security expert, Ravi. How do you approach the challenge of securing training data against poisoning attacks?
Yeah, that's a very profound question. Model poisoning is something where you corrupt the model to give to make incorrect predictions to kind of bias the output. So if you have a small model, poisoning is relatively easy. But if you have a really deep learning model, uh, you need to have a tremendous amount of data to poison that. So we understand the spectrum, right? It's not model poisoning is not easy in all cases. But typically, a few years ago, we had the K-chip chatbot that Microsoft released, and it got poisoned within like a day, and it has to be brought down because it was consuming user-generated content. So from Twitter, so a lot of malicious actors grouped together, and they were able to relabel data and misclassify, and it resulted in the chatbot spewing offensive content. So they had to bring it down. So that said, I think the number one thing is to ensure what kind of data you're training on. The source of data, the provenance is very important. And second thing is also, as my esteemed peers talk about it, like adversarial training on the model. Make sure the model can recognize attack pattern and don't learn bad stuff. And moreover, ensure the typical traditional security, right? It's nothing to do with that. Like ensure like strong access control around your data. Ensure that your data pipelines are secure. Ensure that you don't have you have monitoring. And in case you realize something happened to the model and it's poisoned, have a rollback strategy, have backups, and fix like that. I think it's a combination of like traditional security and also ensure that AI specific threats. You can run as scanning tools such as Pirate to ensure your model is safe.
Technical standpoint, right? Yeah, data poisoning will require, post deployment testing as well, right? Because unlike traditional software, AI is not static and it is dynamic and it's going to keep evolving. If you take reinforcement learning and RLHF, for example, keeps training the model, right? So it's important to test all the way through production, right? And in production iteratively, right? In order to catch the bugs. It's just a big take.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So let's keep going further. Now, the next question I would like to ask, Raji, this is for you, is how should organizations adapt their current incident response strategies to address emerging AI-specific threats and vulnerabilities?
This is near and dear to my heart, because as Shri talked about in the previous panel, right? And when you're in incident response, you're looking at a lot of different things. You learn so much. You're always in firefighting mode. So with AI, right? Like there's an aspect of learning and growing for everyone, right? So there's like a complete upgrade of like, what kind of threats are we talking about? What is the attack? And who do we even reach out to? Like the specific teams you typically work with in the cybersecurity space, there are brand new teams coming in, right? Like they have not never been involved with this, and we need to bring them in. So, kind of, thinking about those things. And then also the way I think about incident response is, so it's really important. So before you go firefight or like you jump into the fire, right? Like make sure you're prepared with all these things. You know your knowledge, understand taxonomies, know what kind of threats are out there, like, basically build your community. Also follow CVDs, coordinated vulnerability disclosures, right? I mean, you want to make sure the product company knows before you disclose a vulnerability. You can reach out to me at Microsoft at the researcher portal. I work for MSRC, and if you find any AI safety and security bugs, please reach out to our team. And then also what I want to say is that the incident response is your treasure trove of learnings, right? This is where you learn. So definitely think about that feedback loop, back to product, back to sales, back to customers. End of the day, we all as a community with AI, right? Like the integration is so much more than the siloed is gone, right? Like you're all interconnected. The supply chain is so complicated that we all as an industry need to come together. So if there are any AI security and safety researchers, thank you for everything you do and reach out to me.
Thank you, Randy. So let's get to some juicy stories or anecdotes. I know security professionals cannot talk about it, but I'm gonna put you guys on a spot. Okay. So we are seeing a rise in adversarial attacks against AI models. K-bot was a good example, but there are many micro level attacks that are happening. In your experience, could be from the incident response side or from a practitioner side, uh, could you share a specific example of your organization or maybe your customers that you know of? Right, please obfuscate the names where you successfully detected and defended against one such attack, and what were your learnings from that?
Right. So I'm talking about the number one LLM, OWASP LLM injection, the indirect prompt injection. This actually caught everybody by surprise, right? ML researchers prior to this knew that they needed to interact the model in order for them to be attacked. In indirect prompt injection, this is happening outside. The attacker is outside the prompt. Think about like it's like, you have these hidden text, right? Like you write something in lime juice or something, and when you iron it back, you see the text, right? So something like that is what's happening. So attackers can take a document and add some white text, white on white. Nobody sees it, right? And then that is your input vector. And then what happens is, the user is submitting a prompt, a normal prompt to LLM. LLM thinks, oh, I have a thing to do, right? And it's a really very good, very useful, as Ravi pointed, right? So what it does is it interprets it. It interprets the bad prompt sitting inside on white text, right? And ultimately, you end up with a data exfiltration. You can think about whatever bad levels of, IP loss is possible, right? So this has been taken the MLAI, this Gen AI world by a storm, this cross prompt injection or indirect prompt injection. So the way to tackle this is really about, thinking deeply about, as security professionals, right? We keep saying, keep data and instructions separate it out. Like this has been like everything fundamentals. Here comes LLM, puts everything together and says, go figure it out. And so what we do is we need to restrict, go back to basics, right? Restrict, think about access controls, things about what kind of like sandboxing you can do to the model. The model access may not be the same as the user access. So thinking deeper about these things. And then Microsoft recently, or last year maybe, they introduced Prompt Shield. So what Prompt Shields does is it will look for indirect prompt, it will look for these prompt injection attacks, and it will block it for you. So those are some ways in which you can think about it.
I was thinking what to talk, right? So that side, I think you put us on the spot. So I'll give you an hypothetical example, right? There are companies that can take the AI companies that can take your data and make it synthetic, right? So not only match the data and it can anonymize and things like that. So I've seen scenarios in this hypothetical place where they trust the AI system so much that the synthetic data that's produced as the output of AI is not checked for personally identifiable information. So don't blind trust AI system. Trust but verify. But you need to have a little bit of manual spot checks and some kind of governance into looking into the uh, despite AI produce synthetic data, is it really synthetic?
Thanks, Ravi. I noticed you didn't mention anything in Kubernetes. Yes, thank you. All right, so I think while I love to cover more, but I think we should probably give some time for Q&A. So what I'll do is let's go around the panel, 50 seconds, 60 seconds. Give us 2 takeaways each on your domain.
Minus two very important one. One thing is AI is the new hot shiny thing, but do not forget your security fundamentals. That is the most important thing. Do that first. AI will get much more secure than it is, right out of the back box. Second one is the data is the air, like for incident responders, for anyone, right? Detection engineers, all of it. So definitely understand logging, right? How you should be thinking about logging. It's really important to rethink logging and keep in mind regulatory customer requirements as you're doing this. So pre-plan as much as possible so that when you get an incident, you are able to go and actually fix it, like identify it and mitigate that incident. That's my mood on to Ravi.
Yeah, that's a brilliant point. Data is the queen. So, so don't forget that you're still in the business of protecting data as security professionals. So that said, I will give you like 2 takeaways, right? Go look at your threat rules and see how much of your threat rules are related to AI threats, and look at the AI's system footprint and see whether that it makes sense. For example, you can have threat rules to look for data exfiltration or models that are running without approval or something. You can definitely unauthorized access to training data and stuff like that. And also, I suggest running some checking out the tools such as Fireit from Microsoft to run against AI models. It can look for not only prompt injections and other things, but also uh, adversarial attacks and stuff like that. The second thing I would say is, when you have a vendor, when you are a customer, when the vendor says, hey, hey, AI is enabled, then as security professionals ask questions. The questions are, what kind of model hosting is that? Is it hosted in your private cloud or in the public cloud? What kind of transparency does the model have? Are you using our data as training data? And you can ask whether our data gets leaked, right? So you can ask all those relevant questions, and whether the model is checked for fairness, transparency, and explainability. So yes, enabling AI as customers, we have a responsibility to ensure that the AI doesn't leak our data.
Um, yeah, in my mind, AI is hot and sexy and is great. But really the attacks on the AI are just, they're the same attacks, just wearing AI makeup, prompt injection and SQL injection, and the way it's trying to circumvent certain checks. So threat model, right? Make sure you understand the designs well. Um, that's one thing. But the other thing is, don't reinvent the wheel. There are excellent frameworks. Meyer did a lot of work around Atlas framework for identifying vectors of attack. use that, overlay that on top of a stride a model for threat modeling, and you have a solid foundation. And like I said before, iterate, make that part of your cycle.
I think, two takeaways quickly. One is we talked about the time to market, right? That's only going to get faster. Agentic spoke about it just now, which is great for the business, but it has to be done responsibly from the security standpoint, right? So that means that the intellectual capital, the infrastructure capital, especially the security infrastructure, right, needs to be in place, right? Skills, knowledge, right, in this ever-changing landscape needs to be ingrained, which means adopting first gen may not be the smartest thing to do. Waiting and watching and being second gen is better, and in the same time, investing in the learning curve and the security infrastructure, right, is paramount. And the the other takeaway is related, and it's about specifically the SOC, observability and response, right, for AI. It may not be actually the traditional cloud security posture management solutions that tackle that. We may need improvisation. In most or not all CSPMs or CNAPs may handle AI, so there may be enhancements required. For example, for generative AI, we need to look at the prompt interactions, the model security, right? The meta monitoring, meaning the performance of the model, right? KRIs, key risk indicators of the model, right? These are additional enhancements required for security monitoring and observability, you know, before one can procure and operationalize AI in the real world.
Hi everyone, my name is Nikon, CEO of Prism Eval. We are an AI red teaming company and we're doing automatic red teaming for prompt injection, direct and indirect. The question for you is, how much of the facts that these stochastic systems confront with a massive interpretability problem? We do not, and I speak as someone doing research on interpretability, we do not understand how the system operate. We are incapable of explaining how they operate. How much of these deep problem do you think is central to our ability to secure, to provide safety and security to these agentic pipelines, although to the applications? I want to use agents. How much of that is a problem, and what can we do vis-a-vis that? Like in the past, when we, the humans, have dealt with the black box problems in healthcare, for example, we devised specific testing protocols named clinical trials, but which takes a lot of time and billions of dollars. So what can we do? Is it a real problem for you? And what can we do, and what should we do to deal with that at the center of our AI pipelines?
That's exactly what I was meaning, right? Our subject matter experts in the enterprise need to have full understanding of the model and how it functions, or any framework for that matter, right? Maybe agentic AI or any advanced AI model. And there are frameworks in the ecosystem that can be used, such as SHAP and Shapley statistics, for example, right? That help with explainable AI, right? And how can it be applied on the most advanced ones? That's something need to be evaluated. But you know, some companies like Anthropic are more focused on being more transparent. Adopting the models that are actually more transparent, right, and are able to provide the transparency, right, is key as well.
Thank you so much for the time to come here and provide your thoughts.